Over the weekend, 7 Days to Die 2.3 went into experimental, and that patch includes a lot of the features the developers were talking about in the very controversial 2.0 Town Hall stream. It's Monday, so that should be going stable any day now, so I thought I would make a quick video covering the most important changes and seeing if I think they've done a good job with the changes and getting your guys' opinions on those changes. Let's head over to me in-game and see what these changes are all about. Oh, interesting, interesting. So the first challenge in each of these is now to find shelter in every biome. Okay, so go inside a building in the burnt forest biome is your first challenge. Then you have harvest mushrooms still, and then it's craft black lung serum, which is a little button here for going to the crafting recipe. That's cool. Which looks like this: costs coal, plant fibers, mushrooms, and water. I think that's exactly what it took before, so that's cool. I do question how this works, but let's be real, 7 Days to Die hasn't been realistic in a long time, but I wouldn't recommend mixing coal with mushrooms and water and jabbing it into your body. Is this item still ridiculously expensive, by the way? Yeah, they should really probably reduce that, because it's really easy to craft and you can make 2,000 dukes off of 10 of them. Let's do this. Yep, just standard steroid injection, right. And the next challenge is to use a black lung serum, which we've done. And then you need to kill 5 burnt forest zombies, and you need to kill 5 non-burnt zombies in the burnt forest. And then 250 nitrate powder. I really like this change, because every single time I go to the burnt forest biome, I've not invested in mining yet, and I am there for like 10 minutes mining that nitrate when it's 500, so that's good. And now you will have to craft the burnt survival smoke gear, which takes armor crafting kits, scrap poly, cloth fragments, leather, coal, and you'll get XP. Interestingly, they haven't added the go-to button on this one, which would be helpful, but that's fine. Smoke gear. So we don't have it unlocked. Why don't we have it unlocked? What do we need to do to actually unlock the recipe? Or do you have to do everything else first? Right, let's do a little test. I will go and do these things in the biome, and we will see if that unlocks it. Right, so does this count as taking shelter? Yes, it does. Right, cool. Then we need to find mushrooms. And indeed, I'm not taking biome damage in here. If we step outside, I get 3 minutes, and then does it regenerate inside? It does. Okay, that's probably better in terms of just, like, not being extremely annoying. Let's go find some mushrooms. Here we go. I also got the nitrate powder one out of the way quickly. There's mushrooms done. So we need to make a black lung serum and kill some zombies. Right, black lung serum was crafted. Let's redeem all these. So now, do I know how to craft the smoke gear? Does that unlock the recipe for me? No. What else do I have to? Oh, I have to gather the ingredients to be able to craft it. Oh, that's okay. Right, and then I still can't craft it because I need to redeem the challenge. But now I do not have to go to a trader at all. I just craft this in my inventory, and I can craft multiple. So I could have one in my base, I could have one in my vehicle, I could give one to a friend, and yeah, smoke gear negates the ambient... Hang on, my character is absolutely choking to death. It's distracting. Negates the ambient smoke hazard found throughout the burnt forest biome, doesn't protect against storms. Yeah, that all makes sense. I feel like it should give you a little bit of protection against storms, but that's a problem for another day. So we have these 4 slots here, and one of these is going to be your smoke biome effect thing. So the good thing about these changes, first of all, is they've been made a lot less tedious. Having to spend an arbitrary amount of time in the biome isn't very fun, and having to kill like shitloads of zombies every time you go into the new biome is also a pain in the ass. Like, you still have to kill a lot of zombies in each one. Like, you have to kill 25 total zombies, but at least it's only 5 of the unique zombies, which means that they can tone down the unique zombies, which hopefully means the frost claw and the plague spitter are much less constant in each of the biomes, and I definitely really enjoy the reduction in the harvesting of materials, because if you're not playing a miner 69er centric build, or at least a salvage ops build, it's going to be really annoying to harvest that, so reducing it by half definitely helps. There we go, so our smoke gear here is done. What does it scrap into? It scraps into an armor part. Interesting. So let's wear that, and you'll see it appears here, and you can take it off if you want, but there's no real reason to take it off unless you're worried about losing it. And indeed, if I die now, this will be left in my bag for me to come and collect, and it means I will have to find another way to survive into the biome again, so that's interesting. Let's take a look at the other ones. So desert survival is find shelter in the biome, and then aloe vera leaves, make sunstroke tonic, use sunstroke tonic, kill 5 plague spitters, harvest oil shale, and then you make the desert gear, which is made the same way as smoke gear, except instead of coal, it is scope lenses, which are made at the forge out of sand and clay. And so with just the items unlocked, we're going to do this a different way now. With just this, do I know how to make the desert gear? No, it's still locked. So it is locked behind you having done all of these before you're allowed to craft them. Oh, interesting, okay. And desert gear is a little hat and like a face covering, it looks like, with glasses, of course. And Sunstroke Tonic, that is orange juice made out of aloe vera, mushrooms, and oil shale. I don't know how you're doing that to make this, but there it is. It's worth noting, by the way, I have maxed out MasterChef, so I'm getting a reduction on the times and the ingredients here, but it would be 5 and it would be about 2 minutes to craft each of these. So the snow biome is much the same, except you harvest blueberries and make Scorcher Stew. Scorcher Stew looks pretty cool. I'm interested to see, does that have a unique model? I highly doubt it, all things considered, but hey, they might surprise us. Let's just hold that. Nah, that's just meat stew again. Right, so what do you do? 30 food, 20 water, 15 health, 10% run speed. Presumably only in the biome, though. Yeah, only in the snow biome. What do we use to make it, though? Interest. Is this... Oh, okay. So this is a food item that doesn't seem to have a barrier to crafting it. Now, you might say, why does that matter? Well, because it means that my character can make Scorcher Stew in a campfire, no problem, if they have blueberries, raw meat, a can of chili, and some beer. But my character equally cannot craft a meat stew, which is made from equally simple ingredients, I would argue. That's a bit odd, don't you think? But how would you even solve that? Like, would you make a recipe for this that you have to find? That would be really annoying if you were gated behind the snow biome. So the problem with this being so good as a food item is now this is an exceptional early game food that you can make, because it only takes 5 meat, 5 berries, 1 chili, 1 beer. You will be able to find those kinds of things on day one. Probably not in numbers enough to make a lot of them, but this is like a weird sequence break for the game. But yeah, how good is Sunstroke Tonic? We never looked at its stats, because that's also something you could make on like day one. 10 food, 30 water, 10 health. Again, that's a really easy item to just be able to craft with no problems. I think they've maybe gone the wrong route turning these into normal food items. Whatever, it doesn't really matter that much, and it's more immersive than fucking smoothies were anyway. And what's the radiation item? All Out Flush. Oh, that doesn't look very healthy to put in your body at all. So that's just a jar of radiated goop that you're jamming into your body to somehow help you. What are its effects? Just 10 health. I can promise you, jabbing that into your arm will not give you health in any dimension, but that is a problem for another day. Same model, yeah, no unique colors or anything, but that's fine. Alright, interesting. So I think Sunstroke Tonic and Scorcher Stew may find themselves nerfed a little bit as time goes on here, because these are just really good food items that you can make out of like pocket lint on day one. Maybe a limitation for that, a quick patchwork limitation would be you can only craft Sunstroke Tonic once you've completed Burnt Survival, and that stops you doing it on like day one, and then you can only make Snow, or what is it called, Scorcher Stew once you've unlocked the Desert Survival. Personally, I wouldn't really care, because I just think, you know, let players craft the good food items on day one if they have the ingredients for them, but it's not in line with the rest of how the game works. You know, this is pretty much as good as a meat stew, is it not? But it's easier to craft. Oh, it's not as good as a meat stew. It's not got as much food or health. It's got same water and it gives you a run speed boost though. I think maybe reducing how effective this is or locking them behind having finished each one. I think this is all very convoluted and annoying, but if we're going down this path, that would be my suggestion, to just lock those a little bit so that they're limited in how you can craft them. I also think they're all way too valuable, especially Black Lung Serum. Being able to craft something that's worth at least 200 dukes out of this is insanity. That's, you know, this is actual pocket lint in a glass of water, and you can get 200 dukes per. It's kind of insane. You can sell them, right? I'm not just being stupid. Let me find a trader. Hello, Bob.
Well, butter my transmission.
Yeah, you'll just sell, you'll buy those. That's certainly of questionable gameplay balance, but it is what it is. So yeah, what do you guys think of these biome changes? They're certainly something. I think we're in a better position than we were with the start of 2.0. I just think we've unlocked a new series of problems, and it certainly has not put us anywhere nearer to something that could be called realism or immersion. You've just kind of replaced it with something stupid, with something less stupid, but it's still exceptionally arcadey. But if people are fine with that, people are fine with that. What else did this update bring? There's been a bunch of bug fixes, first of all, which don't have much interesting to show you because that's how bug fixes work, but there are a few notable ones. The biome zombies now correctly get their speed increase even if the storms happen at night. So previously at night, the storms would happen and the zombies wouldn't get speed increase. There was a null reference exception when spawning insects after destroying tree stumps using vehicles. What that means is you would get like a red warning up on the top left if you tried to like ram a tree stump and it tried to spawn bugs. I'm not sure how that happened, but it's been fixed now. And water will now be able to be seen through glass. Previously it was invisible behind glass, and these zombies here can now eat animal corpses. Previously they wouldn't do it. So in the previous update, people noticed that tree stumps would give you bees occasionally. Well, they're bugs, they're not actually bees, but they're being used as bees. And one of the criticisms people had about that is that if there are bees in a tree stump, the tree stump should give you honey. And this change makes it so that if bees spawn, there will always be honey. But not all honey comes with bees, so you can still get honey without getting bees. Just if you do get bees, you also get the advantage of getting honey. And they've changed the infection chance of the plague spitter insect swarms. I want to say as well, I don't see it written here, but I remember it was somewhere. I remember seeing this, but I think they made it so that the tree stump bees don't give you infection. They're technically a different entity now, which do not give you infection at all. So that's good as well. Reduced dew collector activity value. Hopefully they reduced it to 0, because the dew collector creating activity is still one of the most annoying things in 7 Days to Die. It's just a barrel. It's not activity. Anything that water sticks to should be generating activity if that were the case. Here we go. This is where it was. I was reading these in the wrong order. The bee swarm is now distinct from plague spitter swarms, and these do not have crits, which means they won't infect you. Here's an interesting one. There is a honk event for vehicles to allow game events to fire based on honking the horn. Now you might be wondering, what on earth does that have to do with fucking anything? Well, the thing is, that sounds like they're maybe getting prepped to add the mod that 7 Days to Die has had for a while, where you can honk to open trader doors, so you don't have to get out your vehicle to open the gate. This would be a step to allow that, so that'll be quite cool, and it'll be very interesting as well if they use the honk event to also do things like make zombies come towards your vehicle, because right now they ignore it. They don't seem to respond to honks, so that's a really bit of a sleeper change there that could allow for some really cool stuff in the future. Second column of icons to use for custom map waypoints. Well, that's fun. There's more map waypoints. But what do you think? Are you happy with the 2.3 update? Do you think that the developers were listening well enough when they said they were going to make all these changes? Or have they just swapped out some really bad features with some slightly less bad features? Let me know down in the comments. Oh, and by the way, for the people who are maybe interested, that video I made the other day about my water mod, that mod exists. It's on Nexus Mods and you can play it right now, and I would love your feedback if you're planning on playing with it. So if you're interested, go ahead and check that out on Nexus Mods. I'll link it down in the comments and the description for you. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.